All right. Hey, everyone. Looks like we are live with the 5 day challenge. Today is day three. The week is going by so fast. So, what I want to do is actually, Ethan and Jordan, if you don't mind, keep the Zoom chat comments on for me. And I'm gonna go through those questions as well, if that's possible just for today. And if you are watching, there is a there's a Facebook streaming link that is also going to be posted in the Zoom. And what I can do is have you all join that. So let me double check our page here. Let me just make sure we are streaming. If you're watching on the stream and not in our Zoom link or Zoom room just yet, give me some comments. And we talked about a bunch of different things. I just want to give a quick overview of ideally everything you should know when it comes to the golden rules of the 5 day challenge. Let me go ahead and pull up my slides here. All right, awesome. So today is going to be more of a Q&A session more than anything else. So you should have all the content, all the material ready to go. First things first, if you are stuck for any reason and you need to talk to somebody at a live agent level on a Zoom call, you can jump into speakwith.us/success and talk to a live agent. So let's see, the golden rules. All right. These are the four rules for the 5 day challenge that I often talk about. So I just want to share this with you so that way we can go right into Q&A. It's already 12 o'clock Eastern, and I want to make sure this call is short and sweet and efficient to the point. So rule number one in the world of marketing or in the world of SaaS marketing, rule number one is that you lead with one offer. So the single offer is the missed call text back, and you expand into the core features that we talked about within 72 hours. That's the first rule. What exactly is the missed call text back? It's the feature that's inside of high level that you can use. Simply turn and toggle it on for your customers. And whenever they receive a phone call and they miss it, the system automates a message back to them saying, hey, missed your phone call. I'll call you right back. Or, hey, maybe you're calling about that pizza promotion we have going on this week. Would you like to order online? So you can send them a link that's automated, depending on the type of customers you work with. That'll be, up to you in how you build out the follow-up systems. Now, ideally, in your world, as you kind of launch, you want to use the single offer, the missed call text back, as a Trojan horse. So you enter the castle and then expand later, if some of you remember that story. And what you expand into are the core offers. The core offers are the GMB, reviews, mobile app, one more, the live chat, right? So you want to have these four items expanded for that customer within 72 hours because you're going to do your sales call and then schedule a onboarding call within 72 hours, okay? So that allows you to give yourself the highest amount of usage on the platform, which is what we want so our customers don't churn out. Rule number two, start a beta round of customers with your warm network. So the positioning that we talked about is like, hey, I'm starting a software company, and what I want to do is have a few people to test out my technology and see if it would work for their industry. And in exchange, I'm going to give you a discounted rate. Later on, I'm going to go to my regular pricing. But in meanwhile, if you want to be part of the first, I don't know, maybe 5 people that I'm going to do a beta with, I would love to, kind of show you what I have built out. And that's the way the positioning of the whole thing is. Now, when you're on that call, when you onboard them, you're going to get feedback. But ultimately, what you're doing is asking them to be an affiliate. So then your first group of beta folks could potentially become your affiliates for your software solution. Okay, so that's the way I would look at beta. Rule number three, when it comes to the 5 day challenge, almost everything I've shared last couple of days is setup fee plus recurring pricing. Our suggestion is that you charge 297 one time, then you go into a 297 monthly recurring. So what exactly are they getting for 297? Is it just the missed call text back? Give me a yes or no in the chat if you're listening. Let me go ahead and double check here in my streaming link. Let me see. Are they just getting the missed call text back? Let's see here. Give me a yes in the chat. Oh yeah, we have Zoom chat turned on. Okay. So the answer is no. They're not just getting the missed call text back. They're paying 297 for the gateway offer and the core offer. The core offer, we're not charging them extra to turn those items on, right? So they're getting missed call text back, mobile app, reviews, live chat, as well as GMB profile, right? All of it is included in the 297. So what you're doing is taking one offer, one feature, landing and expanding within 72 hours. And the monthly pricing is going to be 297. That's what we suggest. This does not mean you are going to make money. This does not mean you're going to be positive revenue. Results may vary depending on how you position it. The examples and strategies that I'm sharing is from our own personal experiences, does not mean you will be able to go out to the market and sell something for 297. These are our suggested prices that we definitely truly want to invite you into. Rule number 4, launch products instead of services. So, right, the reason why this whole business model, this whole SaaS business model, and this 5-day challenge is all relevant is because traditionally agencies go through building services around Facebook ads, Google ads, and all these different things. And that forces you to, let me go ahead and stop sharing. That forces you to build a business around your hours or your talent. So the business could only scale often based on your own skill set, your own talent skill set, right? When it comes to SaaS, it allows you to lead with the product, right? Product-oriented companies scale a lot further quite often versus service-oriented companies. And that's what we want to invite you to because the product-oriented companies usually has a lot less churn versus service-driven companies. So high level in this operating system allows you to take some of the features, build your own CRM systems or solutions or whatever going out to the local market. And the crazy cool thing is you keep 100% of the revenue. We don't take anything from the subscription that you go out to the market. Our pricing does not change even if you had thousands and thousands of customers. Okay, so those are the 4 golden rules that I often share on our Q&A recap sessions, just so you know. So let's do this. Let's do a Q&A. So it's already 12:07. So we'll spend the next 20 minutes going through Q&A. And I want to make sure I answer as many questions as possible and make sure you're in the right place. So by now, what you should have had was you've gone through the course, right? Not the live session alone, but there's an online component, there's an online course that you should have access to, okay, when you log in. And this is what it should look like whenever you're logged in. When you're logged in, let's see, it should look like this, okay? This is what it should look like. You should be able to access this inside of your university. If you're not seeing this, more than likely, you don't have the course turned on in your account, and you definitely want to either put in a support ticket or use university.gohighlevel.com, which is the link that I recommend everybody using. Use incognito mode. Sometimes the browser is the issue of why a course does not pull up. So once you've exhausted any of that, I would say talk to a live agent if you would like. And then also inside of the course, these are the collaterals that you get. So if you scroll down to the very bottom, okay, you see something called 5-day challenge collaterals. There's a workbook there, a prospecting funnel. You get 30-day access to our private Facebook group that High Level runs, which I think is if that's not the coolest part of the program, I don't know what is, because you'll be able to connect with high levelers that are in your journey alongside of you. So it's a great way to network, great way to, like, I mean, we hear about lunch groups and pop-up groups and happy hours and dinners and weekend get-togethers of high levelers around the globe from that. So feel free to connect so you don't do entrepreneurship by yourself. There's a ROI calculator, unbranded sales demo. There's a sales tracker, Chamber of Commerce brochures, and all kinds of stuff. There's also sales scripts and a paid ads template. So if those of you that are, a bit more bold and you're advanced a little bit and you're ready to go into running your own paid ads with Miss Call Text Back, our team built out a full-on Facebook ads campaign that you can test with. Okay. So I would definitely take a look at these collaterals in case if you haven't. That is all parked inside of the online course. Okay. So here's what I'm going to ask everyone to do. Type in the letter Q or type in the word question and jot down your questions, whether if you're in the Zoom or whether you're watching live stream, several minutes going through all of it. Okay, I see a few. I'm gonna first go through Zoom and then I'll go through the streaming. Okay, so Charlie's asking, hey, is there an option for missed call text back feature in South America? We don't use text. So yeah, international folks, if you are not part of the Twilio privileges or whatever, you would have to use a different offer as your Trojan horse. So quite often people use reviews. We've also seen people use team calendars. And then you also have WhatsApp as an option. So I personally don't know of people that leverage WhatsApp as a Trojan horse just yet, but I do know it's a really popular feature that we hear internationally, especially in South America. So Charlie, I would take a look at a different Trojan horse. Maybe lead with reviews, maybe lead with landing pages or something that gets them excited. Live chat is obviously a really big one, the AI live chat. So take a look at those, and you can basically pivot from using the missed call text back to another thing. Someone says, Alfred says, I just joined and I'm from Malaysia. I noticed that I cannot buy an LC phone number. Can missed call text back still be used here? So every single country has its own regulations of SMS and texting, and Twilio is our provider of text. So whether you're using high level, whether you're using LC, it doesn't matter. LC Lead Connector is basically a gray label that I high level set up for all of you that don't have the ability to go fully white label just yet. But even the numbers you get from LC is from Twilio. So it all falls under the same exact regulations and guidelines. And I'm not, a compliance officer of any kind. So do your own research of what is allowed and not allowed. So if you're not able to get a phone number, I would just pivot into a different offer, like I would say the AI chat, the live chat, as probably my next choice, or use team calendars as another Trojan horse. Let's see. John says, question, if all core products are part of the 297, how would we not make money? Um, you are making money because you are charging 297 for your monthly plan, right? So the 297 is what we would charge as a setup. So right out of the gate, the very first interaction of transaction you would have with your prospective customer is two line items. The first line item says 297 for setup and then 297 monthly recurring, and you're charging that up front. Okay, that's the way I would look at it. Now, the reason why I don't want you to charge any extra for the 290 for the core offer is because you don't want to switch the offer on them, right? Because remember, we're leading with the idea that we're going to help them field phone calls, right? So we're just simply turning on the other features because we want the highest amount of usage from a software standpoint. So once they're stabilized into 5 or 6 features, you can essentially feel a whole lot more confident that they're going to stay long term. Hopefully that hopefully I answered your question there, John. But I don't want you to nickel and dime them or sell the ice cream and then charge for the ice cream cone, right? So idea here would be 297 flat fee, they get everything, but the way we unbox the whole package, the way we unbox it is as simple as first introduce them to the missed call text back, the entire sales conversation, everything is around that. During the onboarding, you're simply turning on all the other features without charging them any extra. So for 297, they get the whole thing. But the reason why we position it this way is that if we led with multiple features, we're more than likely not going to capture a sale. Okay. Charlie says, is there another? Okay, that's a repeat question. Keith says, can you use the customer's existing mobile number for missed call text back, or do you need to set them up with a new number? You do have to set them with the new number. Um, and typically that's going to be the biggest objection you're going to get around missed call text back. Hey, I don't want to change my number. I've had it for a while. And when that happens, I wouldn't fight the customer for it. I would just say, hey, is it cool if I just added another number just for marketing tracking? We want to be able to track phone call activities that are happening online for you. Is it cool if I just added another number? So then you can add a secondary number to GMB. Eventually, when you show them stats, they're going to allow you to switch your number later on. But in the beginning, guess what? We just want to start the relationship. We're not focused on making sure all their tracking is done right. We definitely still want to have a phone number that allows you to track the inbound calls that are coming in. Ideally, you want their permission to replace their number with your tracking number. So what you're doing is buying a Twilio number and setting up forwarding. So that way, when somebody calls a Twilio number that's out there in the market, then it forwards to their existing mobile number or wherever their line is. Um, and in the other scenario is you can always import an existing mobile number into Twilio. Just like if I went to Verizon after having a service in Sprint as a customer, typically I can keep my number and transfer it over. One carrier would just change ownership. And similarly, Twilio is just like another carrier, and you could move those numbers over, but that's a longer process. It'll take several weeks to set that up. There's a lot of permissions and paperwork and all of that. I wouldn't go down that route unless the customer is big enough and worth the business, right? If it's just a one-off scenario, I would probably wouldn't go out of my way for it, if that makes sense. Whoa, Tiffany! Tiffany says, I had my first sales calls today using the demo. Good job, Tiffany. Thanks for sharing that win. You're gonna see this quite often. Like you'll see when you go into the Facebook group, you'll see people posting about results and how many clients they got and customers and all of that. And again, results may vary. Every single person's different. None of this is guaranteed revenue and results or anything like that. But I do know if you do the work and do the homework and get interacting with, multiple high levelers and just kind of connect and share ideas, you're going to put yourself in a much better place of success than not having this offer. Okay. Someone says, I'm still waiting for acceptance into the Facebook group. Awesome. We want you in the Facebook group. That's a private Facebook group just for the 5-day challenge. Okay. Here's the way the Facebook group happens. When you put in a request, our team goes through your billing and verifies. So you do have to fill out the information correctly. I think you have to put in your relationship number and a couple of other items. And our team will map that out with your billing plan and make sure that you are a real customer or you're part of the 5-day challenge, and then they will allow access. Now, um, we're not too strict with it we do have a 30-day access point. So typically after 30 days, a new cohort of 5-day challenge comes in, and then the old cohort gets removed. But we're pretty light on that because some people, they find the Facebook group maybe 5 days later. They don't get a chance to interact for another 5 days, or maybe they're setting things up or busy on some demo calls and sales calls. So yeah. It's kind of, we try our best to make sure it's an intimate cohort and you're talking to people and connecting with people that started with you. But typically 30 to 45 days is the amount of access you typically get. And then you get moved into our official community, which you always have access, and you can ask questions there, interact with all of us there as well, just in case if you are stuck. But yeah, get into the Facebook group. It's a lot of fun in there. Okay, AJ says, where do we get the course for the things you just showed, like the paid templates, the paid ads templates? Yes. AJ, what you want to do is go to your university inside of High Level. So log into High Level. On the left-sided menu, there's a tab item called University. And there you should be able to see the welcome course and the 5-day challenge course. So when you log in, you should be able to see it. If you don't see it for whatever reason, go to university, use a browser, go to university.gohighlevel.com and make sure you're using the same email that you used to sign up for the challenge. Sometimes your high level logins are not the same emails that you use for the challenge registration. Whatever email you use for the challenge registration is what you should use to log into the university and get access to the course. Go down to the collaterals, you'll see everything in there, okay? Um, then also another link I want to share with everyone that our marketing team put together is gohighlevel.com/GHL resources. That's where you will find white label footage of high level features, like a promo video that one of our teams built out. There is also some collaterals. I think the paid ads templates and docs are all in there as well. So you don't, in case if you can't access the online course, you can find the collaterals there too. At least some of them for sure. Hopefully that helps. Okay, next question. What does the sales process look like from cold traffic, SMS, DM, cold call to paying client? So that's Tyler that's asking that question. So Tyler, that's a fully loaded question. Here's what I recommend if you are interested in cold advanced strategies. Take a look at our 3-day workshops. The 3-day workshops I do quite often, and I typically bring in like a power player that is in our industry of some kind, the digital marketing world, and we learn from their expertise. We learn from what they've done. And I would take a look at a lot of those 3-day workshops. How many of you have watched or seen replays of our 3-day workshop? Give me a yes in the chat if you're watching on any of the streaming, if that is something that you've seen before. And that's where I would go find my cold strategies. There's a lot to it, but I would focus on one item. I wouldn't, as a previous agency owner, here's one of the biggest mistakes I've made. Is trying to go live with multiple things at the same time. So I wouldn't launch cold emailing and cold calling and paid ads all at the same time. I would just focus on one at a time. And typically, I want to iron out all my organic strategies like cold emailing, cold calling, and all of that before I go into paid ads. Paid ads is almost like the last thing I do because if the offers don't work organically, it will not work 1,000% on the paid ads. So definitely map out get your agency or marketing business to a world where you have inbound leads coming in every single day, right? If organically inbound leads are not coming in and people are asking questions about it, more than likely there's not enough noise about your offer. So first thing I would do is the stuff I taught here in the 5-day challenge, the warm network, do your first 100, Doing your first 100 will get you set up with beta and potentially even out of beta. Okay, that there's enough work there. If you put together, what do you think will happen if you did the first 100 and then basically, let's say you bring in 5 people and you ask those 5 people to do their own first 100 as an affiliate partner. That should be 600 people that's warm between you and your affiliates in your beta. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Because that's enough for you to get to, in my opinion, well past the 10 client mark. And at that point, you can hire someone to implement cold emailing for you, cold calling for you. Then you have a little bit of a budget to start testing paid ads. And then you bring in more affiliates and create a bigger beta, right? So hopefully that gives you some ideas of what the sales process looks like. And then ultimately, you want to filter the traffic that comes in the sales process. So no matter what, you want to have some sort of an AI system that filters the traffic into creating the proper appointments, or you should have appointment setters at some point that filter the traffic, make sure from cold, it's warm traffic that you as a business owner deals with, or your closers deal with. You don't want your closers or yourself dealing with cold leads long term. All right, next question. What to do to improve LC phone quality? My phone calls sound like I'm talking from inside of a small car. Quality is noticeable, not a script. Yeah, so here's what I can tell you when it comes to phone call quality. It is directly related to the quality of your internet. I promise you. That's the number one indication of typically phone calls not being clear. We have millions and millions of phone calls that happen in our platform, and quality is not an issue, I promise you. We have call centers with hundreds of agents that use our system, and a good amount of them go through without any issues on quality. So I promise you, it's not LC or high level. It's typically your setup or your hardware or internet connection of some kind, and the latency behind that. Let's see. How do we deal with clients that have a website already that is hosted somewhere else? No need to deal with them. Like you're not trying to sell website services in the beginning stages. Our focus on the 5-day challenge is to get you a SaaS customer, right? How do we do that? Miss call text back and turn on all these things. So the only thing you need to do is be able to add a web chat or an AI live chat in their website. So wherever their website is hosted, you could add those live chats, and typically that's it, right? And then within 10 days or so, you can call back and basically sell them on additional services. So at that point, you have to ask yourself, how do I deal with an existing client that's already paying me 297 a month for my SaaS product that potentially can jump into a website? So I would only entertain that once they have already become a client for Missed Call Text Back. And it's a lot more easier to sell someone higher services for the same reason that which is it's hard to go cold. Okay, does High Level provide, Charlie's asking, does High Level provide similar services to bulk cold email campaigns like SendPulse? Um, so we use a system called Mailgun. That's what's integrated inside of High Level. And you can send bulk amount of emails, but you need to know email deliverability, quality control. There's a whole lot of things around that may or may not help your email campaigns, but yeah, people send millions of emails using our system if that's your ultimate question. Um, let's see. Dan's asking, where can I get a complete SMS snapshot for the HVAC? So, Dan, I would definitely recommend asking in the official Facebook group, hey, does anybody in the HVAC space have a snapshot I can have for free or purchase or whatever, or maybe show me an inspiration that works. But I would definitely say ask in the main Facebook groups, and then the other thing is you can always hire a certified Admin. High Level has a certification program that recently launched. So in case if you even want to find an expert that can go through and set some of those things up and build a snapshot in 30 minutes, they can do that as well. Okay. Someone's asking, Kader's asking, can missed call text back be activated using WhatsApp instead of a local phone? In Saudi Arabia, businesses trust WhatsApp more. No, you have to have a carrier, like a Twilio type of a carrier, to use missed call text back. WhatsApp does not replace your phone numbers. What WhatsApp does is allow you to have another medium like SMS or emails or anything like that. So you definitely could use WhatsApp as your Trojan horse. It just won't be connected to missed call text back, from what I know at least. Okay. Veronica says, although we may be just starting, do we need to offer a 7-day money back guarantee? If so, is the setup startup fee charged after the 7 days? Good question, Veronica. So if you're starting out brand new, I would recommend doing a 7-day money back guarantee, and it is just a setup. And once they feel comfortable, then you can delay and start a recurring charge once they feel, pretty confident about what you're doing and what you're not doing. And then from the setup fee, I would also let them know, hey, whatever you throw into the setup is what we're going to use for SMS text cost and email text cost. So then the money that they would ever get back is money after you subtract the SMS cost. So then that way you yourself is not covering SMS and email cost in case if you have to give money back. But remember, the 7-day money back guarantee is typically for the missed call text back as well as the core offer. Do not offer a guarantee with just one feature. Okay, you want to basically have all of it and then figure out if they find value in 5, 6 different features altogether. And typically they will find value. That's what we see. Doesn't mean that's what's going to happen every single time. And if you're starting out, having a money back guarantee is a pretty clever way to get the ball rolling, and kind of, neutralize their defensiveness around maybe you starting out or not having case studies and stuff like that. Okay. Shane says, isn't it possible to port their number? And yeah, it is possible to, let's say a customer already has a existing number. You could import that into Twilio, but it just takes a lot of steps, usually a couple of weeks, and then a lot of paperwork attached to it. So I definitely would kind of just rather just set up a new number because it only takes me a couple of clicks. Tiffany says she could not afford it, but it was still a win because I was able to practice. Yes, awesome. And then in case if someone gives you a resistance like that, Tiffany, in case if you just in case if you just shared only the missed call text back and the phone calls, you can always go back and say, hey, I thought more about it. What do you think about rest of the features that we have? So in case if somebody says no, just because it's the feature, you can go back and tell them, hey, here's what I had planned for you. Initially is the phone call system, but it's going to be attached to reviews, Google My Business, mobile app, and then a live chat. What if we set all of that up for you all at once? And would you be able to afford maybe $97 a month, right? It doesn't have to be $297. So you can always ask her what is a number that she can afford to bring business back into the business. Like that's ultimately what we're doing, is fielding a lot of their lost leads. Someone says, will there be a replay? Yes, we're live streaming right now in almost all channels. You can see the replays on any of those channels. Um, Derek says, can you tell us about the big AI affiliate push going on right now? I believe April 15th. It's a top secret project, Derek. We're not going to talk about it, but we'll have announcements and things like that. Basically, idea is, nah, 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 nah. I don't want to tell you. I don't want to tell you. We'll make announcements. Okay. John says, is it off subject? Well, same question again. Same thing. We'll make announcements later. Let's see. How do we charge the setup fee without being on SaaS mode? Oh, great question, Shane. So if you're not on SaaS mode, all the billing is done manually. But the invoicing features we have inside of High Level allows you to, basically give the option to your customers to opt into recurring payments. So then you can ask your customer, hey, if you want to do recurring payments, here's how you do it. Otherwise, you're having to send them billing every single month. Okay. And then also charge for the text and emails and all of that. Um, but um, but yeah, that's the benefit of the SaaS mode, right? It's the complete automation of billing. That's really the big difference. All right, let me see. Looks like I got through Zoom questions. One more question that just came in. Someone said I missed the first 2 days. Yeah, go back and watch day one. Day one of this round, I taught pretty much day 1 through 5's content. So it's literally everything. So you don't need to wait all 5 days to get started. So feel free to go through day one, watch everything, and then we also have the online course. The entire online course is only an hour long. So it's meant to be like a fast, rapid fire course, so then you can get to implementing. A client wants a premium domain name which costs $4.95. How should I bill for this, or easy enough for them to purchase it? Yeah, I would just ask them to purchase it and give you the rights for it. I don't like to be in the weeds of things, but that's my preference if that's what you're asking. Okay, so let me go to the Facebook streaming and see if there's any questions there. Refresh, refresh. Looks like we got through. Oh, there's some comments. All right. Ryan says, in the core offer, the GMB offer, is that done through GHL or is that done through Google? Maybe just give a few details of what that means. So, Ryan, you can access GMB management inside of High Level. So you integrate the client's GMB profile into their location or sub account. And then from that sub account, you can manage the client's GMB. Typically, they don't manage any of it. It's not even claimed. So like quite often you coming in just managing that by itself are typical services agencies charge for. Here you're including that in your SaaS offer. But yeah, it's done inside of High Level on behalf of the client. You just have to integrate their Google My Business profile or Google. I don't even think it's called GMB anymore. It's called GBP, which is Google Business Profile, I think. Okay, cool. Dominic is asking, what is the typical call or text usage per clients per month? I'm asking this because you said we should cover the call cost using the setup fee of $4.99. If there is usage that is more than just the setup fee over time, say 1 year, we do not charge setup fee twice. So the setup fee that I recommend, the 297, it's covering your time, it's covering A2P cost to set it all up, it's covering text messages. In that initial stage, you want to educate the customer that when they text as a business to a person, there is cost attached to it. The first couple of months, you're saying you'll cover it, and eventually you'll go over the details of it until just to get the ball rolling. So eventually you're going to pass the cost down to the customer using SaaS mode and SaaS Pro plan. Until then, you do kind of have to cover it unless you can convince them otherwise. Sometimes people charge $500 just one time flat fee. Now, going back to the cost per month on texting. Remember, I said avoid big businesses, avoid call centers, avoid like signing up like a car dealership with like 15 agents, right? Avoid scenarios like that. What you want to do in this scenario is work with a small mom and pop shop that's been in business for maybe 2 to 3 years. Because typically within the 2 to 3 years, they don't have a lot of automations and technology set up. So that's a great timeline. And then when it comes to cost, uh, the average cost we see for a single location is usually less than $100 a month, but that may vary. It could depend on the usage of the clients and how many phone calls they make and how long they stay on each phone call. So the first month gives you like an idea of, scouting. It gives you an idea to just kind of feel out how much usage there is. And then from there, you can decide, okay, on average, they use $30 a month. I'm going to charge $70 a month and keep $40 worth of margin. But at least having a setup fee gives you like a framework, and you can set like limitations and stuff like that of like making sure your customers don't go a certain number and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we've seen. It's usually under $100 on text cost, depending on the size of the business, how many people are in it, how much phone calls they make, and things like that. But it can definitely vary depending on the industry, depending on their preferences and usage. You'll see a lot of customers, they will use their regular phone like cell phones on top of what you have set up. So typically that'll alleviate some of the costs that you may have directly as well. But every client's different. Every result that I'm sharing is may vary, and the cost for texting is its own beast. But I would definitely educate the prospects and customers that there is a cost. So that way, 2 months later or a month later, you're not blindsiding them with this whole text cost thing that they never knew about. I would educate the customer and let them know you're going to cover it at least to get started. And then we can talk about cost depending on the type of campaigns. Like if the customer comes and tells you, hey, Paulson, I want a weekly campaign on text because I have a promo that I'm running. Well, you got to pay to play, right? So that's kind of the recommendation I have, is really educating the customer. All right. Next question here. If you use the new number for tracking as your primary number for Google, does this affect your rankings? Um, I'm not an SEO expert. Potentially, it could affect the rankings. Um, but if someone is already doing SEO, they're probably not a good qualified customer because they already have marketing already set up and tracking already set up. So this would be suitable for someone who doesn't even have anything set up, just so you know. Um, okay, can you please, Dominic is asking, can you please explain what happens when the missed call text back system send text to the leads? If the text reply and say yes, I called to make inquiry, does the system reply back or business owner has to step in at any time? So what I recommend is you going to the online course, go to day 2, use the snapshot Chase Buckner put together for everybody, and follow through. The idea here is to set up an automated answering system, right? Your customers shouldn't have to jump in unless they really have to for XYZ random reason, right? If it's a if it's a prospect that they cannot handle, or so I recommend completely going a hands-free system that allows visibility, right? You want your customers to be able to log in and see the inbox and things like that. Okay. Let's see. Where does the conversation AI come in within high level? Is it SMS or email only? It is SMS. Let's see. What do you think about the free trial? We talked about it. Does importing a snapshot to a sub account override existing configuration? It does not override configurations now because it allows you to choose which snapshots to use. It'll tell you which parts will be overwritten in case if you do double dip and put download 2 snapshots into one place. So follow the prompts that High Level gives you when you are going through um, the actual snapshot. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. Looks like we got through a lot of the questions. I see a few repeated questions we answered already. But anyways, today is Wednesday, so you should have gone through day 2 content, all the tech setup. You should have already built your sub account out for your demos, your snapshots, and all of that should be already uploaded. At this point, your focus should be creating your first 100 warm network list, and you need to start calling and dialing and emailing and letting everybody know that you're building this thing and inviting people into your beta group that you can eventually turn into your affiliates. But either way, I'll see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock EST, which is New York time. And same thing as today, we'll do tomorrow in case those of you that need more support. And then on Friday as well, same thing, we'll do a little bit of excerpts of a review, and then we'll do Q&A just like what we did just now. But anyways, have a good rest of your afternoon. Looking forward to seeing some of your results. I already see a couple of people in the Facebook group saying, hey, I already landed demos and clients and things like that. It's always really, really cool seeing. So make sure you get access to the Facebook group because I'm not the only expert in there. My strategies are not the only strategies. There's plenty of people that do so many different variations of this, so many experts that are also in that community as well. So definitely jump into it. But either way, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.